Yes, Mataji. So we are very fortunate to have His Grace Premavatar Prabhuji on the call to enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam 4.7.19. So, Prabhuji, thank you for joining the call and giving your association. Please accept my humble obeisance and all grace to Srila Prabhupada. I'll hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for the opportunity to share a little bit here. Please pardon me if I cough a little bit here and there. So before I start, just a little introduction about myself. I'm Premavatar Das. I have been connected to Prabhupada and his teachings in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya for 20 plus years now. I started my, you could say, Krishna conscious career in New York City at 26 Second Avenue and then the Bhakti Center. And then about 5+ years ago, my wife and I and our daughters, we shifted here to Atlanta, and we're living in the Atlanta suburbs now. And so that's that. We'll just get started. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Canto 4, Chapter 7, chapters entitled The Sacrifice Performed by Daksha, and we'll cover verse 19 and 20. So I'll go ahead and read the Sanskrit for 19, and then I'll read the translation for the next two and the purports as well. Tadasva prabhaya tesham dyotayantya dishodasha mushnam steja upanitas tarkshyena stotra vajina. Translation. Lord Narayan was seated on the shoulder of Stotra, or Garuda, who had big wings. As soon as the Lord appeared, all directions were illuminated, diminishing the luster of Brahma and others present. Purport: a description of Narayana is given in the following two shlokas. So going on to verse 20. Shyamo hiranya rasano rika kirita justo nilalaka brahmara mandita kundala asya shankabja chakrasara chapagadasi charma vyagrir hiranmaya bhujair eva karnikaraha. Translation. His complexion was blackish, his garment yellow like gold, and his helmet as dazzling as the sun. His hair was bluish, the color of black bees, and his face was decorated with earrings. His 8 hands held a conch shell, wheel, club, lotus flower, arrow, bow, shield, and sword, and they were decorated with golden ornaments such as bangles and bracelets. His whole body resembled a blossoming tree, beautifully decorated with various kinds of flowers. Purport: the face of Lord Vishnu as described in the verse appears like a lotus flower, with bees humming over it. All of the ornaments on the body of the Lord Vishnu resemble molten gold, of the reddish gold color of the morning sunrise. The Lord appears, just as the morning sun rises, to protect the whole universal creation. His arms display different weapons, and his 8 hands are compared to the 8 petals of a lotus flower. All the weapons mentioned are for the protection of his devotees. Generally, in the 4 hands of Vishnu, there are a wheel, club, conch shell, and lotus flower. These 4 symbols are seen in the 4 hands of Vishnu in different arrangements. The club and the wheel are the Lord's symbols of punishment for the demons and miscreants. And the lotus flower and conch shell are used to bless the devotees. There are always two classes of men, the devotees and the demons, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya Sadhanam. The Lord is always ready for the protection of the devotees and annihilation of the demons. There are demons and devotees in this material world, but in the spiritual world, there is no such distinction. In other words, Lord Vishnu is the proprietor of both the material and spiritual worlds. In the material world, almost everyone is of demoniac nature, but there are also devotees who appear to be in the material world, although they are always situated in the spiritual world. A devotee's position is always transcendental, and he is always protected by Lord Vishnu. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vancha Kalpadrubrasya Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, we're at a point now in Bhagavatam where Daksha has turned the corner. He's regained his consciousness, and he realized that instead of Shiva, Lord Shiva, sending him to hellish planets, which Lord Shiva had every right to do for the offenses Daksha had committed, Shiva instead punished them right there and then and rectified him. So this was certainly a mercy of Shiva upon Daksha. And so now Daksha has restarted the yajna under a new state of mind, and that has invited Lord Vishnu to enter the sacrificial arena. And this is where we are with these verses. What I found interesting was in the second verse that we read, we find Prabhupada elaborating on the description of Lord Vishnu and the items he was holding. Before I dig a little deeper into that, just that point itself, I find it a bit amazing. I was reflecting just on that point itself, and I find it a bit amazing that when, small, irrelevant people and beings do something, right, no one cares or notices the details. If, for instance, we're walking down a street and we, by chance, see a homeless person, we just look at and categorize them as a homeless person. We don't analyze, exactly what they're wearing and how they've tied their shoes and how they've combed their hair. We don't pay attention to those things. We don't want to. We just say, "Oh, that's a homeless person. I don't need to know anymore," right? Or if just forget about a homeless person. Just a random person is crossing your path, you're not really going to notice all the details because that person is not relevant to you. You don't assume that they're important. It's just another stranger walking, crossing your path. So, but, just a few days ago, after, and I don't know if everyone's been catching up with the news, but after about only a 1 hour phone call, all right, with his investors, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, lost $16 billion. If you can imagine. All right, in just 60 minutes, he lost $16 billion of net worth. If I go out in the street and just start talking for 1 day straight, I won't even earn $16. So that's the distinction between someone who's in a leadership position, what kind of importance every single word they have has, and every gesture they make, how important that is. If Mark Zuckerberg made some weird gesture in the middle of the street and someone caught it on camera and they put it on the news or online and social media, there'll be thousands of interpretations of what he meant by that gesture, right? So that's so we must pay attention to what leaders say and do. Right? It's part of the game. It's a lot of scrutiny for those in leadership positions, and I would say any leadership position. Whether you're leading a multinational company or you're leading the cooking for a program, or you're running an event, or you're just parenting. It's natural, and it's an expected tendency for others to scrutinize you, especially those who report to you, who are under you, whom you're in charge of. So how we act and how we behave towards that level of scrutiny is also a reflection of our leadership and our character. Okay. So keep these points in mind as we kind of continue along here. And I don't have a lot to say, but the little I say I found to be very significant. So when Supreme Lord Vishnu descends, what he wears and how he looks matters quite a lot. Everything he says, does, and shows speaks volumes to who he is, what his desires are, what his intentions are. In the purport, Prabhupada calls this out. He explains the importance of what Vishnu is holding. In particular, in two hands, he's holding the club and the wheel. In the other two hands, he's holding the lotus flower and concha. The former are for punishing the demons. The latter are for blessing the devotees. This is what's explained by Prabhupada. Now imagine for a second if somehow, really imagine this, okay? If you need to close your eyes. If for a second somehow Lord Vishnu decided to manifest in the same form to you, which hands would he engage on you? Be honest. Think about it for a second. How many of you assumed that you are the devotee being protected? I do my sadhana. I do seva for the Vaishnavas. I strive to understand and love Krishna. Obviously, Vishnu will give me the lotus flower. Come on, I have the flower of power. I ask this tough question because when I read the purport, I immediately categorize myself as a devotee. That's immediately where my mind went to. It was like, of course, I have nothing to do with, being chastised. I'm here trying my best, and I'm in the association of devotees, and I'm not antagonistic to devotees, and all those things. And more than anything, Rupa Goswami told me in Nectar of Instruction that he instructed me to have confidence. So how can I say I'm a demon? But in truth, how can I be so sure? It's easy to make assumptions, especially when we hear statements like, if one chants the name of Lord Hari sincerely even once, he or she is protected by the Lord. Obviously, I would have chanted even at least once the names of Krishna, so I'm protected. And therefore, it can become quite easy with that mindset to overlook the string of small and non-obvious defects in our inner workings and make broad conclusions about how devoted and spiritual we really are. Daksha made the same kind of assumptions over the years. He would have made them every day, every hour, and every minute. And he would have made them often, likely without really noticing that he did so. But our micro faults accumulate and they expand like mold. Let me ask you a question for you to reflect on. If you had to break 10 sticks, 10 wooden sticks you find somewhere, in a park, how would you go about breaking those sticks? What's the most sensible way? Obviously, the best way is one by one, right? Because as a bunch, it just won't be possible, right? You take 10 sticks, you put them in a bunch, and you try to break them with your hands. It'll be extremely difficult. In your mind, you're thinking, this is the best because it's the quickest way of doing it. Yes, it's the quickest, but it's also the maximum hardest. Right? This metaphor of breaking sticks is often used when we're discussing like the power of teams, right? And the power of social groups. If you are isolated, it's easy for someone to pick you apart, right? And to infiltrate your brain and take and do something to you. But if you're in a team, you're in a social group, it's much, much more difficult, right? When you're united, it's much more difficult. So that's the common metaphor for that scenario. But it can also be used in dealing with our bad qualities. When we break the small sticks of blaming, being routinely upset about things, cursing at others in our minds, judging others, and endless other, anarthas and bad qualities, it's actually quite exhausting, right? Dealing with each of those on a one-on-one basis is really a lot of hard work. It's so many sticks. But if we ignore and wait for someday in the future when we think we'll be stronger, these sticks may gather in a big bunch and then become a monster and almost impossible to break. So, when Rupa Goswami tells us to have confidence in the Nectar of Instruction, he tells us to have confidence. He means not to have an ego about our identity. That's not what he means by confidence. He means to have the confidence that Krishna is protecting us as we are attacking our inner demons. Therefore, be clear that it's not that you'll be strong someday down the road and today you should only just chant. You are strong enough today to deal with each one stick. And how to deal with each stick is why we have Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Daksha's tale is a very important cautionary tale. Vishnu is always prepared with the weapons or the blessings. He will do everything he needs to get us on the right path. So to avoid the danda, we need to scrutinize ourselves just like we do our leaders. We cannot afford to ignore the little details. We are leaders in our own journeys. We have earned the scrutiny. Don't put it off. Don't try to work around dealing with our anarthas. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. Is it supposed to be? Definitely. The discomfort is a sign that we're dealing with something that needs healing and fixing. So in studying Lord Vishnu, we are only expected to learn the art of analyzing our leader. We're expected to learn the art of analyzing our leaders, but much more importantly, we are supposed to understand how to dissect ourselves and how to grow from that. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I know it was a short class, but that was the main point I wanted to get across. I wanted to give more time actually for discussion, which I find to be even more valuable. So if anyone has any thoughts or comments or perspectives, please feel free to share.
Hare Krishna, Dandvat, Koti Dandvat, Pranam, Prem Avtar Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Ho. You explained very nicely that the stake, when we are together in a ISKCON family, then we work so nicely. But one stick we can break it very easily. But when we are together in a bunch, nobody can break us. Thank you very much for such a nice message and how nicely you explain Shishi Bhagavatam class. Dandvat Pranam, please give your association regularly. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Ho. Dandvat Pranam, Jai Shri Radhe.
Thank you. But again, just as a reminder, that same metaphor applies also to the bad things in our lives. If we don't deal with them, again, one by one, and instead decide to hold off on dealing with our bad qualities, those bad qualities will also form a family. And that family will be very difficult to break.
Yes, Prem Avtar Prabhu, thank you.
Our bad qualities, it's like in finance, there's this idea, right, of compounding interest. If any of you have 401k plans or retirement plans, you'll see that how your investments grow through compounding interest. But in the same way, if you have debt, there's also compounding interest. So our qualities, good and bad, they also have compounding interest. Over time, they become stronger if they are not dealt with. So over time, if we pay attention to our good qualities and feed them and nurture them, they become stronger. They also become a family, and they become very hard to break. And same thing with the bad qualities. If we ignore them, on the flip side, we ignore them, then they also come together and become more difficult and accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. So we have to keep that in mind.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hari Hari Bol, Dandvat Pranam, Prem Avtar Prabhu.
Any other questions or thoughts?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. Our first Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Very, very wonderful, description about the form of Lord Narayana, and Lord Narayana is holding this real club, lotus flower, and the conch shell. So conch shell and the lotus flower is for the blessings for the devotee. That's element of compassion. So I like that, and I was always thinking why there are four, but for Krishna he doesn't need any kind of weapons or something in Goloka, because there are no demons, only devotees are there. But still after Vaikuntha, Vishnu has weapons in his hand.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't hear that last question.
Means in Vaikuntha, still means Lord Vishnu has the weapons in his hand. Can you hear me?
Is it a question?
No, it's just a comment.
Okay, thanks. All right. Yeah. He when he manifests himself, everything matters, and everything has a very, very, very important symbolism. So even in just this one verse of his description, Prabhupada wrote actually a very short work, but it could be limitless volumes describing why he's blackish, why his garments are yellow like gold, and his helmet is dazzling like the sun. It all has so much importance and significance. Everything Krishna does is with many deep layers of meaning. So, otherwise in the past, I remember reading through these reports and these translations, oh, that's nice. He's decorated like this and he holds this and that. But it's not until a guru describes why these things are so important and why we need to pay attention to the smallest details.
Yes, Prabhuji, but still, when Krishna comes to like this material world and he has to use the weapons, but still, also he does the Leela in Vrindavan and out of Vrindavan. But when in Dwarka, he has to do the, like a battle with demons and other people. So that time he has to use all kind of weapons.
Yes.
But at the same time, he is, for the devotee, he is doing all his pastime, sweet pastime in Vrindavan.
It can feel contradictory at times. How can it be so loving and sweet, and one moment and another moment killing and destroying others, right? The demoniac. It could feel a little bit jarring, to ourselves, because we appreciate consistency, right? We don't want to deal with all the negativity in life, but he's showing us through his own example that you can't have as long as you're in this material body, as long as you have these material coverings and the gunas are affecting you in your consciousness, you can't have only beauty. You will have to deal with everything that's keeping you in your material body, and everything that's keeping you in your material body will evaporate all the wonderful things, beautiful things in your life. So you have to be ready. You cannot ignore everything that's destroying what your jivatma really nourishes, really desires. So you have to be prepared to pick up the weapons and deal with those anarthas. And that's why Krishna does that. He's not just doing that, the external manifestation of his love. He's also doing it to show us that he's ready, then we have to be ready too, to pick up the weapons we need to pick up to deal with all the inner anarthas and also the external matters as well. The Vaishnavas need to be protected. And so he's showing us how we have to do that. Means possible, whatever weapons are available at our disposal. So if those who stand for Dharma are not being protected, then that's a great disservice to Krishna himself. So he expects us to do that. And those weapons don't necessarily have to be actual, weapons of war that the military uses. It can be weapons of words and of power and position, depending on if you're a lawyer or if you're a political person or if you're in business. There's so many ways and so many examples in our history of even recent history, time of Prabhupada, of how Vaishnavas have up to defend Dharma, Vaishnavas, and that's necessary. So we have to be very cognizant of this reality, and it's easy to want to ignore it. That, sorry, but life is just too tough as it is, and all I can think about are the positive things, and I just, I don't have any energy to deal with all my anarthas and bad qualities and all those things. I'm sorry, I just, I can't handle it all. That attitude will, in the long run, cause us great disservice, and it will deteriorate our spiritual life. We have to not have this war mentality. That's not what is, being promoted. What we have to do is be prepared and know that Krishna has endowed each and every one of us with the strength we need to deal with whatever's coming our way. And we just have to, know the art of calling upon that strength. Because we may be convinced that we don't have it, but that's not true. We have it all. So, so that's why that's why it's important that we learn about how Krishna operates in the material world. So that, because it's a great example for us. It's not just meant to be Leela, and so to speak. No, it's not. Often people think, I've come across many situations, not just in ISKCON, but in other groups as well. And there's this tendency to think of Leela as pastime, and then subconsciously you think, oh, it's entertainment. Oh, this is Leela time. This is time to feel entertained, and that's a byproduct of Leela, but that's not the real significance of Leela. So it's meant to teach us something very profound.
Yes, Prabhuji, very good point of telling your anarthas the inside, and that's why Krishna needs weapons for the devotees also. Yeah, and it also says in this purport that in this material world, almost everybody is a demon. When we go out for book distribution, we realize that.
Yeah.
Very few
Yes, we all have those qualities within us, and we're trying to purify ourselves. So when Prabhupada is saying there are two types of people, demoniac and devotee, the way I understood it for myself was that, yes, and I'm both. There's a side of me that is striving, earnestly to be a Vaishnava. And then there's another side of me that's pulling me down and wants to do nothing with it, and always trying to be an enjoyer in this material realm. And I'm always fighting that interest. So, and that if Vishnu were to, and my conclusion was, if Vishnu were to manifest himself, which weapon, would he use the weapons, or would he use the blessings? And I realized he would use both for me. That in many ways he would bless me, in many ways he would have to correct me. So because it's Kali Yuga, it's not so clear cut, right? We all have goodness in us, and we all have bad qualities as well that we have to deal with, and systematically root out in our lives. And that's why if we go out and we try to share Krishna with others, and they share their bad qualities with us in a very open way, we should feel some sympathy. We should deal with it appropriately. And at the same time, internally, we should feel that, that person is manifesting something that I probably have within myself anyway. So I should have some sympathy and empathy as I deal with this person. It's not always easy, but that's the example of Lord Nityananda that we have to somehow manifest in our lives.
Yes, Prabhuji, very true.
Anybody else has any question or comment?
Jai, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prem Avatar Prabhu. Dandvat Pranam.
Very much, Prabhuji. So, should we end here, or anybody wants to say something? Okay, so we'll stop here. This prayer obeisances to all the Vaishnava. Vancha kalparudesha tapasya. Itanam pavani.